Greetings, YouTube. Welcome to Mythical Matters. I'm here with my friend. What do you want me to call you?
You can call me Chevalier.
Chevalier or something. And we're going to talk about different types of LARP swords, specifically latex, duct tape, different brands, Calimacil, Epic Armory, Sparkfoam. So, hope you enjoy. We're going to nerd out. So, what should we nerd out about first?
Well, there's a lot of different types of weapons, and we just thought it would be useful for anyone looking to get into the sport of LARP to know which one's kind of the best. Now, if you don't have a lot of cash to spend, because these can be very expensive, and if you're handy with duct tape and foam, you could make something yourself.
Yes.
This one that you made.
Yep.
And it's round like a pommel, but it does the trick. It's very well balanced, and you've had loads of practice with it, and we've actually ran games with these. How many years old would you say this particular one is?
Well, I've done a lot of rebuilds on this sword for the blade. The handle's pretty much the same age. I've just kept wrapping electrical tape around it, but the blade I've remade two or three times, but the sword itself, I think, is actually, oh goodness, 7 years old, but I did replace the core at one point, maybe 6 years ago or something. So these will hold up a while. You just got to do the maintenance, find where the duct tape is breaking down, put more duct tape on, if the foam is wearing out, replace the foam. And this is a fiberglass rod, so, and it's a very thick fiberglass rod, so it's not going to break. But if you have, something like PVC that might occasionally break, you might have to do a core replacement, but that's not been an issue with this sword. So yeah, duct tape is definitely an option that's affordable. Just takes a little while to develop some skill in making it look realistic. And you can make the blade much thinner than this, and I'll show some examples in another video of some LARP swords that are made of duct tape that I've made that look even a lot better than this one.
However, these ones have served us very well in some of the games we've done.
Good NPC weapons.
I have found a few times that, in spite of its looks, there's multiple players who want to try and make a grab for it just because of the way it feels and the way it's very, what's the word?
Rigid?
Rigid and
it blocks
dexterous.
really well. Right, so if you're using like 1/2-inch PVC pipe or 1/4-inch PVC pipe, and then you have all that foam and duct tape on top of that, it makes for a very good blocking sort of sword.
Now, how does this compare? How does this compare to? Well, what's the next level up we have on the table? We have multiple kinds here.
Okay.
This was definitely on the dirt poor cheap end, but I suppose the next level up would be this one.
The Sparkfoam.
So these Sparkfoam swords are actually really nice. I don't remember the manufacturer of these, but I bought these 4 years ago off Epic Armory, and I think it's a real disappointment that I haven't been able to refine the model anymore, because for the price tag, these ones have
$35, which for a realistic-looking functional LARP weapon is a huge steal compared to $100 or $150 for something that looks very similar.
And the price tag climbs from there.
Yeah.
If you just browse Epic Armory or Medieval Collectibles here on the screen, you can see that they go really high up.
Yeah.
But this one, however,
$35, right?
Yeah. After shipping and tax, it was $35, and I have had 6 of these, and they have. There's been some damage to them, some scraping away from the foam, but I've managed to keep them clean, and some repair silicone on them, and they've held up. Now, the way we typically play is, if you had to range it from trying to use this to chop a melon to what you see in some LARP videos where they have to hit each other really light.
Yeah.
This one can take, I would say, medium abuse, and this has lasted 4 years now, and the only ones that have broke were the ones that someone accidentally stepped on. but it's very,
Yeah,
much
it's
like the
nice
duct tape
core
one.
rigidity.
It's nice core rigidity, and what I particularly liked about this one was that it's a pretty blank slate, but that actually made it cooler because you could
do some very cool
custom
embellishments.
work. Yeah, on this one, the scabbard was also bought off Medieval Collectibles, but I custom hand wrapped the handle.
Yeah.
But, although it's the same model.
Does that one still have the jewel in it?
This one does, although it fell
Okay.
out. But I was able to put just some little colored stones in the bottom there.
It looks really cool.
And aesthetics-wise too, it's a very nice, just kind of generic-looking sword. You could just, it would be great if someone was able to find this one again. It was labeled LARP Veteran Sword.
I actually did see it online on Amazon, but I had to do a lot of searching. Like it used to be easy to find on Amazon, and but I guess it's still there. I don't know if it's low on stock or they want to hide it because it's such good value and they're not making enough money. But we think it's really good, and whoever produces this, like please make more. And also,
we'll leave a link down in the description if you're able to find that one again. There's
also the Viking sword version with a longer handle, which I guess isn't exactly maybe as historically accurate for a Viking sword, but and these just look so cool. The detail work on the crossguard and the pommel, it just feels really good. A couple comments I'd make on these swords is just the amount of impact might not be allowed for some LARP groups because it does hit harder. I know there's a whole range of foam density for different types of LARP weapons, but it packs a lot more punch than the average LARP sword. That's one thing I can mention. And also the tips I do not believe are reinforced with Kevlar, like the Calimacil or Epic Armory blades. So these may or may not be allowed in your specific local LARP, but if you're starting your own group or you're just sparring with friends and you're willing to, risk a bit of a beating and the odd chance of the tip coming off, which has happened, I think, once. And we, reapplied it with some glue and duct tape and stuff.
Also, if you're into aesthetics, it's just
right.
I know most LARP groups, especially when the sport was very new, they just had those like cool noodle-looking boppers.
Yeah.
And like you can have all the cool armor, but when you have the boffer, it kind of pulls you out of the immersion. So I think anyone would be pleased to be able to find something that is safe enough and actually looks like a sword from a distance.
Yeah, it's kind of a hidden Amazon gem, I'd say.
Now, what's really cool about yours versus these is that since LARP has a lot of safety that they try to keep in mind, they don't make these able to actually stop a blade because obviously it's a sport and we're not actually trying to whack each other and cause injury. But for those who are into the sport and want to practice their historical fencing techniques, you can just make your own at home rigid enough to be able to stop it. And the difference here, in the game, I actually tried that once and it just went straight through and whacked my eye. But if you do it at home, you could make it as thick as you want.
Right. You could even put PVC in the crossguard. I did that with one sword. Bent the PVC up for a curved crossguard like this.
It was just a really small group too. So we were all agreeing that we're not going to try and hurt each other.
We're a group of 30 friends or whatever, so we're not going to. The legal issues are not as big of a deal for us. So, or we've never been sued, so they're not a deal. We still keep things in mind. We're still careful, but if you're running a group with 100 people, then might not be as good as an idea, but it's still feasible, and I think still you should consider it. So, let's see. Should we talk about Epic Armory? Yeah.
And there's so many, like even just maybe 5 years ago, it was hard to find weapons that had distinct characteristics. Ours are a little on the older side, but if you shop around the LARP stores today, everything is much better made. They put a lot more color and detail into them now.
It's just really impressive. This is a Kriegsmesser from Epic Armory, and I believe Epic Armory and Calimacil are joined now. I'm not sure exactly that situation, but that's the brand I'm thinking of that I got this from. And this, I believe, is a latex coating weapon, so you have to reapply latex. It's not like an injection weapon like Calimacil, where there is no latex and the coating is actually like injected into the foam. This has a nice leather grip, great color, like Kyle was saying, the three-dimensional fuller and all that. So yeah, I would definitely put these as not the highest quality, but maybe the second highest quality on the LARP market, and they're a little less expensive than Calimacil, I would say.
I'm not precisely sure. I bought all 6 of my veteran swords, and I was pretty content.
Yeah, yeah.
But how is that? What's the price for something like this one, and how does it hold up? How much abuse does it take?
Well, this one, I would say, I'm trying to remember, but it probably costs, I don't know, $40, something like that. I have here an older sword, a Gandalf the Grey sword that was from Epic Armory, and it's Glamdring, and I did a product review of this a few years ago, and it's really beat up now. I've had it for 8 years, I think, and he's seeing the end of his days. I'll probably put him in retirement, just use him in like troll-hoard, stashes, stuff like that. But this was, I think, $75 at the time. So, that's
The foam
probably a little more
different.
Yeah. Now this, I made some big mistakes with this. The foam started wearing down after a time, or the latex on it started wearing down, and so I added spray paint and plastic dip, and then more plastic dip and more spray paint, and just layered and layered, trying to fix it, and it never really fixed it. So probably should have just bought more latex from the company.
Care for these weapons or any of these products goes a long way.
Yep.
And it's a little astonishing to me that this one, the price differences between them, something as little as them putting a leather wrap around it, will put the price up. The type of foam, how they make it too. I was unaware of the latex injection that you were talking about.
Right.
But I guess we'll get to that in a moment. But this one, like $75 for this one, and $35 just the way they compare.
Yeah.
It's the foam is a lot stiffer on this one, but of course this one actually has better dimensions. They actually put a sizable blood groove in there, and it curves down versus this one, which is rather square.
Yeah. This one has like a leaf-shaped blade, very subtly.
So it seems craftsmanship will drive the price up, but maybe just because more people are getting into it these days, maybe that's driving the demand up.
Yeah, I don't know. So the top level that everyone knows about pretty much is Calimacil, and so the injected foam that you were talking about, I'm pretty sure that's what they do with these. And I know they have different blade design types. Like I have 2 versions of the same sword. If you can hand me that one. And this one is really old, and I really did some bad stuff with maintenance. So this is not an example of their quality by any means. But same model, and I can tell the foam is different blade design. So they have a lot of customizability. They're really very cool stuff. And just the metallic finish, I'd say, looks the most realistic.
I like how they craft on that one.
Yeah, it's just really good three-dimensional shaping and all that. The reinforced tip. And this, I believe, was $150. I think I got it on a sale. This price was reduced, and I believe I got it for $50 4 years ago. And here's a pro tip from a non-pro. If your LARP sword the paint is coming off, you want to get the paint off so you can repaint it, don't heat it up with a heat gun, put painter's tape on it, and rip the tape off. You're going to get big chunks of foam. Yeah, this guy's seen the end of his career, but it was a wonderful sword, and I loved using it. And
For the first time I
got
fought you, I used that one.
This one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. It just feels so good in the hand. The grip is so good.
It really does.
You gotta admire the grip on these.
Mm-hmm. I remember seeing it in your pile of duct tape weapons. I thought that one's got this.
Ooh,
I'm going for that one. But I just goes to show what care will do for these things,
or what it won't do.
Or what
or what not care.
Yeah, what
will
not
do.
care will do. Yeah, and whenever you buy these things, they usually recommend the proper silicone spray to use.
Yeah.
Depending on what kind of weapon you're getting, use those and use them regularly after every engagement, and they'll keep forever.
Yeah.
What I'm assuming would be some questions from viewers would be, what justifies in your mind the price range of this, especially since some of them go even higher for like $200 or more. This versus this versus this. Pros and cons of each one.
Okay, pros and cons. Pros, you just know that you're working with the best company out there, and that they're going to be professional in what they do, and that it's going to last you the longest of any kind. Calimacil, there's no blade maintenance required because it's the injected foam. It's not latex. I'd say probably the best combination of realism and durability. And also just you having a Calimacil sword is going to say that you're invested. Epic Armory, I'd say pros and cons. You do have to apply to latex, which I need to do soon. But very, very high quality, and similar deal as Calimacil. Sparkfoam, I'd say amazing detail and realism for the weapon, and I should also give the disclaimer that Sparkfoam, they have a whole bunch of different swords, and so they're not all like this. Some are lower quality. This is probably their best quality sword that they have. But this particular sword and the Viking sword, these both, great detail, wonderful price, and very durable. The cons, I'd say, would be just how hard they are. It hurts to get hit with these. They'll give you bruises, and the tips are not reinforced with Kevlar, so maybe a safety issue for some LARPs. Duct tape. Pros, you can make it however you want it, design it however you want it. If you can't find what you're looking for online, you can make it sturdier or more rigid to do fancy blocks and stuff like that. It's the cheapest option, and it's very customizable. So that's what I would say for the pros and cons of each one. If you have anything to add there.
I guess I would only add to this that we're not saying that the manufacturers of these should take this negatively. As I've said, like for this one, we've used for quite a few years, and it works really amazing. The only time when the stiffness of this and the potential bruising becomes an issue is the rules and relegations regarding safety for your particular group. If you're a group that doesn't mind going a little bit harder, don't worry about it. But for something like the Calimacil, it's a little softer, and you get much cooler look with it. But I think that's about all I have to add to that.
Yeah, me too. So thanks so much for watching. Thank you for being with me here today, Kyle. And as the French have it, au revoir.
Au revoir.